Florence Nightingale is the daughter of a very wealthy, affluent family outside of London. And Florence is doing what everyone her age is doing. I like nursing. I like fixing people and helping people. Oh my God, maybe God has chosen me for something greater. I don't want to run a house. I just want to be a nurse. And at the age of 24, she leaves the house and starts interning at the Harley Street Hospital in London. 1853, the War of Crimea breaks out. In 1854, the Secretary of War, Sidney Herbert, writes a letter to Florence Nightingale saying, Florence, you're a great nurse. I've heard about your work at the Harley Street Hospital. That's right. I need you to go get a team of nurses together and go and help out our military doctors. So Florence was like, yep, I'm on board. So Florence gathers together 38 nurses and they go to the Scutari Barracks Hospital in Constantinople. It was rats and lice. It's not even a hospital, it's a barracks. So they show up, and the male doctors, they flip out. So the doctor's pissed off, and Florence is like, yeah, I get that. It's never happened before in history, but I'm here now. My ladies are here now. Florence and her nurses are shocked at the conditions, but they believe in Florence, and they're like, all right, we're gonna do whatever she says. Let's go, let's clean this up. 2 days later, thousands of soldiers that are injured from the Battle of Inkerman are brought into the barracks hospital. This was 3,000 soldiers. They are covered in their own excrement. They are bleeding. So the doctors are like, oh, we need your help. She ends up being known as the lady with the lamp because it was this British woman there in Crimea holding a lamp and visiting soldiers. The lamp was protecting them, and the soldiers were saying to each other, this is the only person that's cared about us. And Florence and her nurses have done everything they can do. Unfortunately, in the 4 months that they are first there, 4,077 soldiers die. And Florence says, I'm so angry we lost so many men, and I need to find out why we failed. So the Crimean War ends in 1856, and Florence gets back to England, and she is awarded a $250,000 war fund dispensation gift from Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria says, what happened in Crimea? It was bad, and I think I noticed a trend. And I'm gonna have to think about this. She is also really sick. She has the Crimean flu. I mean, bad, coughing, sputum. Florence goes back to England and just goes to her bed. She's so ill. She stays in bed for 11 years. She starts studying all of her notes from Constantinople, and she's like, I know something was wrong here. And she's building graphs, and she starts seeing a pattern. And she's like, I think I figured out what happened. The men at the Scutari Hospital were 10 times more likely to die from an infectious disease than from a war wound. That's why we failed. It was hygiene.
She improved sanitary conditions so much that she garnered a reputation as a reformer and as an advocate for public health.
During the Crimean War, the British press made public the horrendous conditions of the wounded soldiers in Turkey. The army turned to Florence Nightingale for help.
Sidney Herbert, Secretary at War, reached out directly to Nightingale. Nightingale and her band of nurses arrived at Scutari, the hospital in the Crimea. They were shocked at what they found.
The field hospitals were positioned on cesspools of putrid water. Patients were lying in their filth. More soldiers were dying from infections than they were from wounds sustained on the battlefield.
Many of the reforms that Florence Nightingale instituted were quite revolutionary. Nightingale insisted that there be fresh air and water for all the soldiers. that recuperating soldiers receive healthy food to eat to help make them better, and that all of the bandages and sheets and blankets were adequately laundered each day.
By the time she was done, Florence Nightingale had succeeded in reducing the death rate within these military hospitals by 2/3.
And she was like, cleanliness is next to godliness. In 1859, she wrote a book called Notes on Nursing. Years go by, and Florence uses the money that Queen Victoria gave her to found the Nightingale School of Nursing, which is the first nursing school in the history of ever.
To maximize the health of the community at large.
This really helped her to make her message known to the parliamentarians and government agencies who would make important decisions about hospitals and healthcare.
Nursing didn't exist until Florence Nightingale. Also, when Florence Nightingale was 87 years old, she received the Order of Merit from Queen Victoria. This was the first time a woman was ever awarded the Order of Merit.
The fact that we have a nursing profession today is in large part thanks to the work of Florence Nightingale.
So Florence Nightingale was responsible for pioneering an industry and giving women a job and a purpose.
As Florence Nightingale's House, London, July the 30th, 1890. When I am no longer even a memory, just and vague, I hope my voice may perpetuate the great work of my life. God bless my dear old comrades of Balaclava and bring them safe to shore. Florence Nightingale.